I'm here with Professor Wrestling, and we are going to talk about AEW and the business sense behind that. Because Professor Wrestling, tell us, tell us here on the Mr. Hartgrave channel who you are and what you do. You have a YouTube channel. The links will be down below. Make sure you go like and subscribe and all that good stuff to Professor Wrestling if you want to check out his content. But for those who don't know you, which is literally everyone on this channel, tell them who you are and why you're here and what the hell's going on.
Sure, yeah. So Professor Wrestling is fixing AEW by talking about the business of wrestling, right? I'm not here to tell you about what I think Full Gear is good or bad, but more like the dollars and cents of the three counts. So, you come check me out and you can learn everything you ever wanted to know about the business version of the word, the wrestling business.
All right, that
I'm going to
sounds
tell you,
that sounds pretty
yeah,
great. You're on screen right now. We got your channel up there. You have just two videos on this so far. I'm going to tell you right now. You need
well,
to.
there should be.
There's is there another one coming?
Yeah, well, it's a course syllabus. In the
Oh,
first
okay.
video, there's a lot of things I'm going to go through. The next
So
next one we're upgrading.
we're going to get like education here. Is there a degree that we get at the end of this? A
You know
certificate
what?
of completion?
If you watch all of them, I will mail you
Oh,
a certified Booker certificate. You'll get it and you
okay.
can hang it on the wall.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting. I'm going to tell you right now. You need to fix these thumbnails and your channel name.
Perfect.
We
Let's
gotta
do
we
that. I
gotta
can
do
do that.
better on that because yeah, you're Professor Wrestling. However, your channel's name is the story behind the story. So I'm already confused, but that's okay. You're early on this, and we were talking a bit before we started rolling here, just a little bit because I usually like to film everything in my life because I'm a weirdo.
Smart. Good move.
You were telling me like before you started talking about the business sense of this, or maybe you've always been talking about that, but you were talking to me about the look of AEW, and man, that is such a big part of why I started up a second channel, and that's why I like watching AEW. Like it just looks cooler than the WWE. Am I
Yeah.
crazy? Like it, but it does.
No, no. I think we're kindred spirits in that we both like spooky ghosts and goblins and ghouls.
Yeah.
So like people like Darby Allin or Malachi Black and the Black Order.
Mm-hmm.
Back when the Dark Order was a little bit spookier,
Sure.
Thunder Rosa, Danhausen, like this is all stuff I love. And even like Scapegoat Jack Perry, you don't see anything as
Oh,
striking in the WWE.
you could never do the scapegoat Jack Perry in WWE like ever, guys. Like if you've ever thought that wrestling isn't for you, a lot of people on I'm glad you're on this channel because now I'm starting to understand what this video might be for the people on this channel. The people on this channel like Mr. Hartgrave, but some of them refuse to go over to my second channel. They're too afraid to go check out wrestling because they're like, wrestling's dumb and wrestling's lame. Like, no, AEW is awesome. They have a guy that wears a
Wrestling is cool as hell, man. I don't
wrestling's
know. They
cool as
burn a
hell.
house down. What do you want
Yeah,
from me?
they got people burning houses down. A guy just had bleach shoved down his throat at a live event in New Jersey. I mean, it's nuts. You got a guy, the scapegoat guy, he comes out with the goat's head on. It's
He
straight up
drives a beat
demonic.
up Mad Max truck.
It's nuts. Yeah, he drives around. Oh man, I gotta look. If you want to know more about the scapegoat bus, make sure you check out my scapegoat video because I do a good 10 minutes on that. So I can't do any more
Dude,
scapegoat bus material. I'll get pulled off the air. But if
the
you're
real
in,
video to check out for you, if we're just going to glaze you for a second, is your Thunder Rosa vid,
it's a
man.
good
Your
one
Thunder
too.
Rosa and your Danhausen vids.
Yes.
Well, Danhausen,
Danhausen's
Danhausen gets
another
it in
one
a
that you
way.
that I don't know if you would if he showed up somewhere else, he'd be different. He'd be watered down. He'd be changed. He wouldn't be what he is. And even in AW, he got watered down. So,
Well, the thing I see about
wow.
Danhausen is, did you listen to his like Conan interview when he talked to Conan way back in the day?
I didn't listen to the whole thing. I basically listened to the part that I grabbed for that video. I found I didn't feel like yeah, I have sometimes I watch a lot of interviews for the videos that I do, but that takes a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
time. For Danhausen, I was going in another direction. But what did you hear in the Danhausen Conan interview that stood out to you?
So the Danhausen Conan interview is like sitting down to interview CM Punk, but calling him Phil Brooks the whole time. right?
Yeah, yeah, because it's not Danhausen, it's Donovan.
You're
And
talking to the guy who plays the
and
character.
he's
And the
done a
thing that
couple. He did one with Chris Van Vliet too, where he was just regular. Yeah.
I think
Which
this is a
I
thought,
don't
and
think that
maybe
was
it's a
a
belief.
great. I mean, look, he did it for Conan, and that's
Yeah.
understood because it's Conan O'Brien. Doing one with Chris Van Vliet, I don't know, man. Maybe a bad idea.
Well, this is where
A little
I
early in
go
the
against the
career for
grain.
that, isn't it? I mean, could you imagine,
Nah, it's
dude?
fine.
Undertaker? No, no. Maybe it's fine now, but like what we're finding out about Undertaker would have buried Undertaker like years ago. I don't. At
Oh,
least with me, I wouldn't be an under. Like I would have been like, dude, this guy.
I don't know. I still would have been a
Undertaker's
Taker fan
not
because,
cool. Undertaker is not
well,
cool. He was cool when he shut his mouth and he
yes.
didn't say anything. But the more Undertaker talks, the less I like Undertaker to the point now where I'm just like, I never liked this guy. And that's a lie. I used to like him, but I will never admit to it now. Now I'm just like, no,
For
that's not a cool
me,
guy. Because, I mean, look, politics aside, this guy's
yeah,
like a good old boy who sits on his porch and drinks beer. He is not a
the great
badass demon from like the underworld at all. Like it is not his
the great
personality.
sadness about the Undertaker is learning that Biker Taker
Yeah,
is the
that's
actual
the
most authentic
actual.
character,
Oh my
and
god.
that Mark didn't really give too much of a shit about being a spooky ghoul
None
man,
of it. None of it. None.
and
It's
that's
unreal.
none of
And
it.
honestly, if we want to pinpoint the moment that Mr. Hartgrave turned off wrestling, it was Biker Taker. That was it. I
Oh,
was like,
dude.
as soon as
And then
Biker
that's when you
Taker
get
rolled
Brothers of
out,
Destruction, which
I'm
should
done.
have been something other than it was.
I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm like, you've lost me. I'm like, I will never go back if you took your spookiest character and now he just comes out as a redneck on a motorcycle. I'm done. It's as bad as like right now. Could you imagine Malachi Black just like coming out with a backwards baseball cap and some blue jeans and
It's
being
like
like,
rebranding his dad.
well, just being like, this is the real me. I'd be destroyed. This will never happen because that's not the real him. He is that guy. Like Malachi
Yeah.
is that guy. And I believe that. And that's why I'm back into wrestling because the characters that are portrayed on AEW are actually the people. It's not a facade
They're
that they're
doing the
wearing.
work they want to be doing.
Yeah, they're doing what they want to be
And they're not
doing.
being saddled and trying to make the best of what they've been given, which is very much how the Fed booked guys and it still does. Like
Yeah, they're still doing. I mean, they're
and
trying to stop. I think they're trying. I think they see the error of their ways because they've already said like we're not going to rebrand people coming out of NXT anymore.
well, that's good.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a mix.
it's good and
As a
bad.
performance, it is. As a performance, maybe there's roles guys can play that are good
Yeah,
and they don't know who they are until they get to work. Like Mick Foley was kind of a goober until he did his match with Tony Funk, like it for Onita. And then
yeah.
when he became Mankind, he sort of built a character out of it. And then you get guys like Chris Jericho, who you don't need to rebrand. Jericho understands it. He understands the business. He understands character work. He understands like the idea of what makes a good
Well,
professional
he'll
wrestler and what draws
rebrand
an audience.
himself. I mean, Jericho will rebrand
Exactly.
himself. Yeah.
You don't need to do that. And so I don't know, but I'm a big Papa Shango mark, and you don't get a Papa Shango without rebranding a guy, right? So
Yeah, that's
it's a
true.
mix. Like
That's true. Sometimes a guy. Well, I mean, it depends on who you're dealing with and how creative they
it
are.
does.
Because you
Yeah.
see some people from AEW go over to NXT and they just love it. They love kind of having some help figure it out because you're not gonna really get that in AEW, which is a
Right.
downside for some guys.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about AEW that is when it works so well.
Yeah.
And it works so perfectly. And when it's off in a way that it's super hard to put your finger on, which is why discourse around it
I
is so
don't know. You know,
toxic.
sometimes it's real easy. Like right now, making MJF a bad guy is a real easy thing to see that that's a bad idea. That's their number one. MJF is your number one baby face. There's no reason to turn him heel again, other than that he wanted
MJF
to
is
or
a
was cranky or whatever.
he's just such a good character performer.
Just
MJF is great. Like
yeah.
the guy who's playing him is just fantastic. And if there
Hey,
was a
look,
conversation
we had a
he's
fist
like, I
bump.
want to
We're
do heel
cool,
work.
so I'm not going to say anything bad about Max ever.
Yeah. But well, no, and it's objectively true.
But he's
Like
not a bad
he's
guy. With the way AEW is right now, MJF is not a bad guy at all. Because
Yeah.
we
Well,
have people.
AEW.
How many people have attempted murder in AEW in the last couple of months that aren't named Maxwell Jacob Freedom? Because he never has. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yuta
Didn't
just attempted murder. Danielson has
yes.
attempted murder. Moxley has attempted murder. Scapegoat Jack Perry has attempted murder. All of these guys
Well,
are worse
but
guys than MJF. All of them.
thing about attempts is you're not that bad until you do it. That's the thing.
But look,
Attempted
we're not
murder,
actually going
that's not
to.
a
I
crime.
mean, all right. I'd say we weren't actually going to murder someone, but other companies, people have been murdered in NXT. Like not really murdered, but for the story, people have been offed.
Yeah.
We haven't done that. Maybe that's
Uh,
where we're headed. Is AEW gonna do a murder? I
well,
never
bring a gun
liked
to the
it.
ring, man.
I never
I think
I've never been
I
a
like
fan of it.
wrestling when it goes full cam.
I
Right.
like
So like
that too. I think murder's
I
too
want to see
far.
Jack Perry's scapegoat truck blow up, and then I want to
Yeah.
watch him cut his hair and come back 6 months later as like
Yeah.
Terry Perry and be like, I'm avenging my brother. Like, wait, what? Like
I
that's
don't
what I
know.
want. I want wrestling to be nonsense.
That sounds very WWE. Like the parts of WWE that aren't good, like Vince McMahon blowing up. I hated the Fiend being set on fire. Was one of the worst things I ever watched. Like what the? It wasn't even fun. It's like I just why?
Well, I think
why?
setting a guy on fire is cool, but I don't think you should
Not
set the Fiend on fire. It's a
not how they.
misuse of character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was weird, and then you got to bring him back, and then you got to reset him, and then he dies, and then you never
You
get
give
the
him
end
a
of the
world
story.
title that he doesn't need because spooky wrestlers are not world champions outside of maybe Danhausen. Danhausen should be a world champion.
You see, I was right. I want to say how right I was not to come back to the WWE for the Fiend. I saw the Fiend. It was on my radar. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I said, maybe I'll come back for that. And I didn't. And now in retrospect, I'm like, I nailed it because that sucked. That was bad. That ended poorly. I did not want to be on that roller coaster. That would have been a bad ride to take. That was not
You
fun.
don't want to watch him wrestle Goldberg?
No, I don't want any of the things that happened. I watched the Hell in the Cell that ended with chants of AEW. I mean, this is bad. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. That's one of the worst live events. It's one of the most pissed off crowds I've ever heard. Was that Hell in the Cell between Seth Rollins and The Fiend? They were so upset.
Well, what are you going to do? Go watch Dynamite? I mean, that's always that's Vince's booking right there. Is what are you going to do? Go watch Dynamite? Like, no, you're not. I'm all.
Oh my God.
We do what we want, which is why Roman Reigns just won't get off of anyone's television. They can't. He just can't.
I got no interest anymore. I used to keep up with WWE. I used to watch the pay-per-views. The last few, I just have. I watched the cage match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and that was great. I enjoyed that, but I didn't watch any of the other shit they did or do.
It's a good work rate. Like it's a good match. It's a good mechanical match.
It was a good match.
I want.
Well,
I want to see where this John Moxley story's going.
Hold on. I gotta say, it was fun to watch. However, it had a disastrous botch where CM Punk almost killed Drew McIntyre, which is good TV. But I can't say that it was like this masterpiece because like he literally hit that guy in a way that he shouldn't have hit that guy.
Didn't Dave Meltzer give it 5 stars?
Yeah, sure. With like,
well, then it's perfect wrestling.
Oh my God,
there's no mistake.
Yeah. Oh my God! And look, it didn't get
once
7.
Dave Meltzer gives you 5 stars. There's nothing else to do.
It's no Okada Omega. Okay.
No. Good.
Like, are we ever going to see? Are we ever going to see the WWE do like an Okada Omega? Are they even capable?
I don't think they ever want to book a Japanese strong style match.
Never want to even.
Like, I just don't think that's what
they won't even approach. Like, if they like, there was talk of Omega and the Young Bucks signing with the WWE. That was real. They were gonna do that.
Yeah.
Would it have gone that? Would they have been like, all right, we're gonna do our Omega Okada here, or were they just gonna be like, Omega, you got to be a WWE guy now. You got to slow down.
That's the thing, right? They're gonna like, you're doing too many moves, and you're making our old timers look bad. You can't. The Rock can't do that many moves.
All right.
When he comes back for Mania, you're gonna make him look slow.
They're like Kenny Omega. Okay, you're here now. You're in the WWE. We got an idea for you. Okay, you're going to be at WrestleMania. You'll be versus Roman Reigns. Just think about it. You hit the one wing angel on him, and he kicks out.
Then you do it two more times, and then five guys run in, and that's when he pins you.
If you're watching this video and you don't get what I'm saying here, Kenny Omega, no one's ever kicked out of the one win. His finisher move has never been kicked.
You protect finishers.
I mean,
yeah, that's what you
but
do.
But his is the most protected.
Yes, because it's
the one wing. I don't even know how he was able to protect it for as long as he has, but ever since he's been using it for 20 some odd years, no one's ever kicked out of this thing. But I feel like the WWE's big creative idea for Kenny Omega would have most ultimately been, we will have someone kick out of it.
We'll have Lesnar kick out and then squash you over 6 minutes.
Yeah, just squash you. Because I don't
That's
think
what you get for being big in Japan.
Yeah.
Get over without us.
Yeah, we will just. I mean, definitely. I mean, it wasn't Vince's WWE that was talking about bringing in Kenny. It would have been Triple H, but I don't feel like they've changed that much.
I just know that the audience screaming for Omega Nakamura to happen, and then it never happens.
Oh God!
That's how WWE's booked for the past decade.
That would be heartbreaking because that's like one of the few things you'd actually want to see would be like Omega Nakamura. That would be cool.
You want to hot shot the title to Nakamura because he would finally get his run, and then you build to him and Omega at SummerSlam, but they couldn't leave well enough alone, so they'd be like, Braun Strowman's here, or the bloodline's involved somehow.
Now here it is.
We have to have our thing.
You get Braun Strowman up on your shoulders for the one wing angel, and then he kicks out.
Think about it.
It's the internet will never shut up. Like, oh my God.
But I want to trade paperback of wrestling, and like I want AEW to start making it because they're so close, and I love half of their roster, and the other half I just don't know who they are, and I think it's because they got a lot of guys, and not everyone.
Well, you know what you can do is you can go watch Parts Unknown, and I'll let you know about all those guys.
I would rather watch that. Parts Unknown is the move here, man. The Moxley story, nice and condensed for me to digest, is really enjoyable. Yeah, I love that. I love the honestly, I loved your Thunder Rosa video. It's
a good video. Well, some of the stuff in the Thunder Rosa video is better than anything that has ever hit TV. And it's not mine, it's hers. Like, she did these promos on her YouTube channel that have the fewest views on her YouTube channel.
Are those the ones like the fire breathing and stuff?
I think that's some of the visuals from like a music video, but it's the actual words about how Thunder Rosa fights for the women who went to cross the border and died trying to make a better life for themselves. She's never said that on TV.
She doesn't get to. That's the thing.
It's important. That's why you like Thunder Rosa. That's why I like Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. I used to write. Like, I did write indies. I did write TV. Like, I've written pro wrestling stuff. So I get it. But like, one of the things that I find so frustrating, at least when I was writing, is that as a writer, you want to understand the characters. And in wrestling, the performers have an intrinsic understanding. Like, it's not like a movie where you're going, here's what Iron Man says, and he just regurgitates the line because he's good at it.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to have it back and forth. What can they say? What can't they say? What are they good at? What are they bad at? And when you look at like the way you portray Thunder Rosa versus the way AEW does, you see a disconnect in like what you can do with this character and even how to use her right. Like, in my mind, you build a 6-month storyline around her and you turn her into like a Mexican John Cena, right? Like, you have her go and do stuff with migrant communities and, Mexican kids. I'm not trying to be like my family's Mexican, but like, I understand there's a difference in that culture. Yeah. 34% of Americans.
Well, I mean, just follow her around, and I mean, she does all this stuff. She already does all that.
Right.
She just does all.
And then as you do that, you have her heel go like, "Oh, she's, this is all fake and it's all bullshit and she sucks," right? And then you build that feud that builds that match, and you can sell those vignettes. It's like, this is why you.
It's almost like. It's almost like if you did Thunder Rosa versus Deonna Purrazzo, but like you gave them also time to do a story on top of the matches. Because I think
And
you
you
had
should
it.
do
It was
that.
right there. Like it was right there. And I mean, at least the one good thing happened out of that recently with Thunder Rosa is that she is like the purest female babyface right now.
She
And,
might be
and
the
and she
purest
liked that.
female babyface since uh, who was Medusa in WWE
No, I
when she
don't
was in
know,
WF?
but I get the idea. It's
Um,
been a long time.
the
Yeah.
trash can. That's the only thing I know about her at this point is trash can. But like, she was a pure white meat
Yeah.
American babyface, and it might be her, and then nobody, and then Thunder Rosa, and then like Lita a little bit, but Lita was also kind of
Yeah.
doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. That's uncomfortable.
No, oh no
Thunder
no,
Rosa is not
Becky
uncomfortable.
Lynch.
You know what I like about Thunder
Yeah.
Rosa too, and I'm hoping that this surfaces, is that Thunder Rosa is really good with kids. She was really good with my kids. She actually filmed
Huh?
a couple of segments with my kids. She interviewed my kids and she had my kids teach her Taekwondo kicks. My kids are second degree Taekwondo black belts. And she got excited and she
Whoa.
filmed this for her channel. It might come out very soon. It hasn't come out yet, but it might drop on there anytime. I don't know what she's doing with that, but she's great with kids. Great person.
Yeah. No, it's a shame, and then like Danhausen also is a shame. It's like
Oh man.
he should be more featured, especially when, and this is like the Professor Glasses coming back on. When his merch sales are high, it's a
Yes.
leading indicator that people like to see him.
Right, you
So
would
you
think.
should feature him
They
more.
are still selling his merch. If you go on
He's
Shop
not even on the
AEW
show.
right now, if you go on Shop AEW, his stuff is the most featured stuff. His box is the
Yeah,
most sold box. Like everything about Danhausen is still firing on Shop. Like they're happy to sell his merch,
just not put him on TV for
just
some.
not use him at all for anything. It's wild. I don't,
How much money do you think making Danhausen head of the Dark Order would draw? Like realistically,
this is an
how much money?
idea. You know what, sir? I was on the fence about you until you said something that I hadn't thought myself that is actually pretty damn good. Because the Dark
Yeah,
Order, what are they doing?
yeah. They
Danhausen
got
leading the
Evil
Dark
Uno, and they're
Order
running around.
sounds kind of fun.
Very nice,
That
very
sounds
evil.
that
Like
sounds kind of fun.
yes,
Kind of
the
fits.
very nice, the Danhausen and like the Nicehausen. He
Yeah.
he runs the Dark Order in the very goofy way that they are getting up to because
But
they're
when
kind of
it's
goofy.
time to get down and have a death match, you got very evil, Dan. I mean, it really fits the vibe of the group because that group is pretty
Yeah.
both ways. They either are total
Well,
goofy comedy characters or they're entirely nuts psychos.
Evil Uno is like a Chikara guy, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah, I don't know. I
And
haven't
then
I
like
haven't done a video on Evil. I should do a video on Evil Uno because I usually like to do videos about guys that I have some connection to, and I feel like I could get the video in front of Evil Uno pretty easy. So I should do one next
if
year.
I'm
It's
if
on
I'm
it's on the
right,
list.
if I'm right that he's a Chikara guy, I will say that Chikara is one of the most slept on like things in wrestling because it came out at a weird time,
Yeah, yeah,
and that kind of sucks. But Chikara is absolute craziness. It's my favorite kind of wrestling.
yeah. It's
That
it's
and
good
Lucha
stuff.
Underground. I like it when it's goofy. I like it when it's fun.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Lucha
like God,
Underground. I said like the Fiend was something I saw, and I'm glad I avoided. Lucha Underground is the opposite. That's something I saw, and I was like, maybe I'll find time for it, and I really wish I did. I mean, I can go back and watch it now, but like I remember it on Netflix and it being on my queue, and like I need to get around to this, and just never getting around to it. And man, did I miss out because that was awesome.
it's everything that wrestling should do well.
Yeah,
And
really cool
like many
stuff.
things in America, it because it was Latino oriented, I feel like it didn't get the due it deserved because it never left its like little circle.
All
You
right.
know, like
I have firsthand experience with this because I saw it pop
yeah,
up on Netflix and I ignored it, even though every fiber of my being would have loved it. And I think the problem is it just it didn't let me know what it was.
yeah.
It was not clear what it was. I thought there was a chance it was really awesome, or it was like a totally stupid thing. And I think that I was led to believe a little too much that it was like a stupid thing, like a
It's
TV show. I thought it was like a really bad Telemundo, which is a horrible thing for me to
so
say. That was awful, Mr. Hargrave.
No,
You're a bad guy. But that's
no, it's
what it
fine.
kind of.
So this is the problem that as a format wrestling runs into, and this is like what I'm trying to address with my channel. It's like, okay, is wrestling the matches that happen in the ring, or is it the backstage shenanigans that the performers are getting up to? And Lucha Underground goes, it's the matches that happen in the ring. So we're going to tell a really cool, interesting story about the matches, right?
Yeah.
Like there's Aztec blood and it's real pulp, and
Yeah.
the match work is insane, but it's very lucha heavy. It's a lot of aerobatics, and I think they do a lot of intergender stuff, which you don't see a
They
lot
did. Yeah.
outside of Mexico.
Yeah. Thunder
But
Rosa would wrestle dudes there. Yeah.
yeah, and then when you come to like the WWE, for example, it's just going, no, 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 it's the shenanigans. See, the
Yeah.
thing about it is this Drew McIntyre feud, you got to know about this bracelet that he was posting about on Instagram because it's real, and you start to lose general audiences that way. At least that was my experience when I was like talking to people about it
Their eyes
back in my
glazed
like time.
over.
Is
Huh.
sorry, yeah, but like I just if you focus more on the product and the story you're telling, I think there's a real opportunity to draw more. And Lucha did that really well, but it did a bad job of marketing that it was doing that.
Yeah, like
Like you were
something was
saying,
off about the marketing of Lucha Underground where it wasn't being quite clear. It wasn't clear to me that it was a real wrestling show and not just like a TV show, because it was kind of a TV show about wrestling. But
yeah,
it
exactly.
was also wrestling though. Like it was also live wrestling. I guess it was
Yeah,
taped. It was
it's just a
taped.
lucha show. Like
I don't know.
it's good,
Yeah,
but
it
it's
just
hard to watch now. I think you have to buy it $2 an episode on
yeah,
Amazon
yeah, it's not
Prime.
the right. Well, and wrestling does tend to be a little better if you watch it while it's happening because it's an ever-changing thing. And to go back and watch wrestling, you have to do a lot of work. You have to do a lot of context. Lucha Underground's probably holding up better than a lot of other things, though, because all of the context is actually on the show. Because it's crafted like a TV show, you don't have to go watch the Parts Unknown channel to figure out what's going on. It will literally tell you what's going on. It's better
I
at that.
think you'd be. I think you can do it if you watch like WrestleMania 30, that road, like from Rumble to Mania, like where Daniel Bryan wins. I think that's a good bookend. If I was going to go
Okay.
back and rewatch old wrestling, that would be like watch that and the Raws. That's a season of like pro wrestling that's pretty good.
But there's so much context missing. Like I don't think with Lucha Underground there's context. If you're buying into the reality of the show, it's all right there because they're all characters.
Yes,
Whereas
100%.
with real wrestling, right? Especially AEW, which puts a lot of it on you to go figure out, which is why I have a channel, which is why I make videos about that because there's so much work for
And
the
you're not alone.
individual.
It's like you and Dropnik is another guy doing that, and I'm loosely doing that, and
Hold up, wait, hold up. You brought up the name of a man that I often will drive by as I make my videos. How is stringing together a bunch of matches in a row a documentary? Can anyone
well,
explain
it's
that to
not
me?
good. He's just also doing it.
He's like the bad. I mean, look, he gets a lot more views. I also imagine he makes
Sure,
zero money because it's all got to be copyright. There's
it's
no
love of the game, bro.
it's love of the game or so I don't know, but yeah, that's wild to me
Yeah.
that he's like, people out there who stumbled upon wrestling documentaries. There's a lot of bad wrestling documentary content, which
Well, there's a lot of
maybe if
money
I've said it on
in.
this channel, if I've said on this channel, hey, I'm making wrestling documentaries, you think I'm making some kind of hack bullshit, but I'm not. Right? Because there's a lot of hack bullshit out there. Not naming anyone specifically.
No, there is. It's a lot of hack bullshit, and to use parlance that I know the IWC is going to love. It's a lot of smarks. It's a lot of smarks thinking they know what's going on,
Oh, you know
right?
what I love doing best in my videos on the second channel is just buying into it. My favorite moments in my videos is when I just get into the reality of it and I just say it how it's being played on TV and I don't do any of that smart shit. And I just go with like, I think the first time I did it was with Hangman Adam Page, where I was like, Hangman has descended into madness and just like gone with it. Because Hangman hasn't actually descended into madness. He hasn't actually lost his mind. He tends garden. You know, he grows flowers. He's fine. He has a wife and kids. But on the show, he's lost his mind and he's burning people's houses down. I want to live in that
talking
world.
about that. And I was talking about that. And I was like, if Hangman Adam Page burns down Swerve Strickland's house to win a match, like to do a wrestling match.
This has happened, by the way. That wasn't a for instance. That happened.
Yeah. I was like, what does that mean if you're like Hook or you're Jericho and like now you're in an Adam Page feud? You're like, no, I like my house not being burned down.
Jay White is not safe right now. He is not. Stop.
Watch this man's house.
Stop fucking with Hangman. Jay White, stop fucking with Hangman.
But like that is and like in a nutshell, that is the thing I love most about AEW and the thing I'm most frustrated with about AEW. It's like they have the fucking balls to burn down Swerve Strickland's house.
Burn down
that
is. You know what?
The dopest thing I have seen in years.
I'm not even convinced they got the proper permits and shit to do it.
When I was watching it,
who knows?
I was thinking is
who knows?
I went and watched the promo. I was like, this is so good. And I was like, you know what? It made this like 1,000,000%. Like it would have shot it to the moon in my head. Is like, is if they had a cut where his mom is like tied to a chair, like with duct tape over her mouth. And then as they walk through to the back porch, you know, they pull her out of the house and all. But like kayfabe murder his mom and burn his house down.
This might be too far. Look, I'm not saying we won't get there. We haven't seen anybody murdered for real or fake on AEW, but man, we are getting close. And I don't know, guys.
I want to see a wrestler no sell a gunshot. I want the idea that these guys are larger than life to be central, but
I don't think we've seen anybody. AEW does not do supernatural at all, which is kind of disappointing. No. But also it kind of makes sense because like they always talk about sports base, but that's always so boring when they do it, and they always scrap it. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them toy with it.
I'd love to see two shows. I'd love to see Dynamite, which is like, this is the show that is the if you don't want to watch Raw and SmackDown and all the pay-per-views and whatever the fuck else you need to watch to keep up with WWE, go watch Dynamite. Here's Dynamite. It's awesome. And then I want them to have a second show where they're like, we're going balls out. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be nuts. We're throwing this is our Adult Swim, and we're going to try to find our Rick and Morty, and we don't
just a nutty fucking. I mean, that does sound great. I would like to say this though: if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, and you're kind of curious, and you're still on the fence, and you're like, I don't know if wrestling's for me or whatnot. Well, the news is that AEW is going to be on Max January 1st. And you can go watch.
I'm so excited for that.
You can go watch anything you want to watch. It's easier than ever to do that. I'm probably going to make a lot of content when that launches. I'm probably going to be telling people this a lot. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is the first time talking about it. And you brought up a good point. There's really only one thing for you to do. Go to Dynamite Episode 1 and watch that. And just watch if you don't like Dynamite Episode 1, maybe try Episode 2. Try to watch Episode 3. If you don't like it by Episode 3, then you're probably done. You're not an AEW fan. But I would be hard pressed for me to say if you watch the first 3 episodes of Dynamite, and you're not and you're hooked, then you're hooked forever, and you'll watch any shit they put out, because that's what I've been doing for the last few years.
Were you watching the original through episodes of Dynamite?
I did.
Did you watch it when it first aired?
So what happened is like Lucha Underground, like The Fiend, like a few things that had been on my radar, AEW hit my radar, and I said, okay, I'm locking in this time. And the first thing I did before I watched AEW is another thing that was on my radar was this thing I heard about the best wrestling match that it ever was between Okada and Omega. And I said I should watch this Omega Okada thing. I haven't watched wrestling in forever. I don't know what's going on. Let me watch that. And I watched Omega versus Okada, and I watched the first match that they did, and the second, and by the third, I'm literally like kind of tearing up at the end. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? That I'm so moved by two dudes in like a wrestling ring in Japan. Like something's weird about this. Like I do really like wrestling. Maybe not watching for 10, 20 years maybe it's time to come back. And then I decided, okay, well, let me get into AEW, because AEW is like Kenny Omega's thing. Like he started a wrestling company. Like this guy that made these great matches has a wrestling company. So let me check that out. So yeah, I went back, and it was 2021, and I went back to the first episode of Dynamite, and I watched that. And the first 3 episodes of Dynamite, I don't know if you remember these, they're amazing. And they're all just jam packed, because these guys were scrappy in 2019. They were going up against the WWE. They had some shit to prove. They still do. It's not gone away, but now they've done 5 years of it, so things are different. But 2019 AEW just hits like nothing else. They're absolutely insane, and everything they're trying to do is like they're just trying to prove that they're legitimate, that they're better entertainment, or whatever they're trying to get across. And they're doing it with such enthusiasm and energy. You get swept up in it. It just became an addiction for me, where I just watched everything in order until I was caught up to real time, which I did in about 6 months. I think it took me to watch everything from 2019 to get current. I think I was current by I think I must have started midway through 2021. And by 2022, I watched my first pay-per-view in real time, because I had finally caught up and watched everything, which I would recommend. That's the crazy way to do it. You don't got to do that. Mr. Hartgrave has a channel where if you could watch some of those videos, it'll catch you up a lot faster, which I recommend.
What I do.
I recommend that. That's good. That's a good way to do it. But I
love finding a guy with a good storytelling and solid editing to help me get caught up on who these people are.
Help you
out. Yeah, dude. Not everyone has time to watch everything. Well,
it's a lot.
That's what I love about it.
It's a lot.
I could just watch Dynamite and just watch the PLEs,
just
and
watch
good.
You don't.
Yeah.
So if you're new to it and you don't want to, and you're not a sicko, you can really just watch Dynamite. And then when it comes time to watch one of the pay-per-views, put those on. All their pay-per-view. I mean, you could also skip Dynamite and literally just watch their pay-per-views and have an amazing life. Also possible. No, there's no bad AEW pay-per-view. There's no 100% bad AEW pay-per-view.
Oh, they don't have their victory roads?
There's probably at least one that I've been like, I mean, people are saying that Full Gear is that one, but I don't think it was. I was there.
24?
This one. Some people are like, this is the one that sucks. I'm like, I don't know.
Everyone's mad about the Costco guys.
The Costco guys, I'm mad that was like kind of the best part of the show. I'm legitimately, it makes me feel a certain way, but I mean, if I'm gonna be honest with you, that was hot. And it was a good match. It was like really fucking good. QT kind of brought that shit. Like, it was great. I mean, I think I was telling a friend the thing about that match. I'm going to say this again. I feel stupid. I'm going to record this like a few times, but whatever. The thing about that match is, during that event, there was nothing where it was a clear good guy, bad guy, have a match, good guy wins. That didn't happen all fucking night. So the fact that happened made that a remarkable match. And there was no match full of high spots and full of shit to pop the audience other than that match.
Oh.
So it's like the match of the night, because it did typical wrestling shit that didn't happen for the rest of the show.
From an AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, it just did the normal shit that you normally get, at least, a couple of those on every pay-per-view. There's like some kind of regular shit. Here's the good guy versus the bad guy. The MJF versus Ospreay in London. Like, I know what the fuck I'm supposed to do for this. Go Ospreay. There's the only one where it was very clear. I am just supposed to cheer the boom guy, and the fucking boom guy wins, and the Rizzler. You know, it's great.
The Rizzler.
Fucking Rizzler.
Everyone, dude, who doesn't love the Rizzler? He's the Rizzler. He's
I'm not a fan, but I can't deny it was the loudest sound that audience made all night.
Well, yes, it's a mishandling of like the Mox thing. It's like the Mox angle is great. Woo. Moxley is in his element. He's so perfect.
Scary motherfucker.
And I don't know why he's going up against Orange Cassidy, who, and I mean this well. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings.
We got to end this video. We got to end this video. These people don't care. You got to understand, we're on the video game channel. They care about video games. If you care more about Full Gear, make sure you check out my second channel. Make sure you go check out Professor Wrestling if you care about the business side of wrestling, which I think
talk about that later.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So make sure you go like and subscribe. Professor Wrestling, I don't even know if you should know because you've been watching my second channel, and I don't really say anything at the end of my videos. Sometimes wrestlers will say it. Do you know that we say grave diggers?
Is grave diggers keep on digging what we're telling the people to be doing?
That's what we say.
He is I and I am him, and I'm the undisputed trend Matt Taven. And this dork behind the camera, some Melvin told me to say, grave diggers keep on digging. Whatever that means.
I am AEW wrestler and Ring of Honor tag champ Mike Bennett. And remember, grave diggers keep digging, but not the monster truck. Even though my son really likes that monster truck, I kind of like Son of a Digger, and so I'm going off on a tangent about monster trucks because my son really loves monster truck, but we're talking about the YouTube channel, so make sure, grave diggers, keep on digging, baby.
But it's Mark doing one half private party saying what up to the grave diggers and keep doing your thing, bro.
Alright, like, subscribe, and watch another video, or be cursed. If you're cursed, that means the grave diggers will keep digging your graves. So, you probably want to do it.